Okay, hello. Damn. Sorry for the delay. I just everything's fine. Everything's fine. I had to run to the bathroom real quick because I just ate and I have a really fast metabolism. I'm gonna adjust things in here. This has been bothering me for days. Okay. Hi. Okay, hi guys. Hi guys, we're reading Scum Villain's Self-Saving System. That's all. That's all there is to say. My computer's being loud. Okay. Okay, sometimes a little pat on the top of my computer just makes it be quiet, you know? Give me that BL gloriousness. Yeah. You're straight? Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. Of course you are. Where did we left off? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm really getting my bearings right now. Is that the phrase? First of all, I just woke up. Second of all, I just ate. Third of all, I had to run to the bathroom real bad, and that was a bit of a struggle, a bit of a fight for my life. But we're here now. Yeah, that's the phrase. Okay, cool. We're reading Scum Villain, and last we left off on page, at the bottom of page 168. Let me see if I can find where I actually left off. What phrase I left off on. What phrase? Why are my notes so out of order? Okay. Start at, got it. Yes. All right. We'll read like a short little paragraph before we cut off from last time. So, yeah. We're in the dream realm. We're in the dream realm, and fucking Binka brought Shen Qingqiu in because he trusted him the most. I'm not gonna cry. I already cried so much in the Yuwu reading stream. I'm not gonna cry this time. There's no need to cry here. There's no need. There's no need. Anyway. Let me get a sip of my tea. How are we all doing today? How is everyone? Got to pop out chat. Do settings. Settings up. Let's see. I might be a little less active in chat than usual. Got a lot of work I didn't do the rest of the week. Fair enough. That's fine. You like reading streams are very chill. There could be no one chatting and I'd still be here. Which is not to be encouraged, but like I'm still gonna do it. Thank you for the bits. Do people say biddies, don't they? Thanks for the biddies. That sounds like titties. Is that why people say it? I still haven't drank my tea. You say biddies? Okay. Alright, first sip. I don't know how I feel about that tea. Anyway, my tummy feels a little silly, so hopefully that'll settle things down. As well as help me clear my throat. Because who doesn't like biddies? True! I don't know anyone who doesn't. Anyway, here we are on chapter 3, at the bottom of page 168. Let's start. Suddenly a voice sounded out of nowhere. That hoarse, aged voice made an inquisitive noise and said, "You're quite something to actually break through this elder's barrier, boy." That voice echoed all around them. It was impossible to determine which direction it had come from. This level's boss had finally appeared! Lo Binghe was supporting Shen Qingqiu and didn't rise to his feet, his gaze wary. Meng Mo had appeared while Shen Qingqiu was injured, and things were not looking good. Lo Binghe resolved to himself that if Meng Mo tried to attack, even with his paltry strength, he would still give it his all to impede him and earn Shen Qingzhou every possible chance of survival. The instant he made his decision, that voice spoke again. "Come over here and let this elder see what kind of young hero is capable of such a thing." Lo Binghe looked at Shen Qingzhou. The latter's entire mind was filled with the thought of, "I finished my friendship performance. I can finally leave work now." And he was extremely cheerful. He even felt like teasing his student. "The senior is asking for the young hero," he said. "Why don't you reply?" Lo Binghe's face reddened. He turned and spoke in a clear voice. "You flatter me. The barrier was broken by my master's strength alone." The voice humphed as if in disdain. Shen Qingzhou knew why he'd humphed. Though he had blocked an attack for Lo Binghe, this was Lo Binghe's dream realm, and so Lo Binghe had needed to wrest back control of his consciousness before the nightmare could be broken. But Shen Qingzhou couldn't be bothered to explain. "We love a lazy king." The voice spoke. "This elder wants you to come over, boy, but I don't want this ordinary cultivator from Sangchong Mountain to hear our conversation. I'll help him sleep first." I'll have him sleep first. Same thing, pretty much, in this instance. As expected, the circumstances were exactly the same as when Ning Yingying had played this role in the original story. Everyone aside from Lo Binghe would be waved off stage by Meng Mo. A headache instantly came over Shen Qingzhou, and he collapsed heavily. Alarmed, Lo Binghe gathered him in his arms. "Shizun!" he called. "Shizun!" "No need to worry," said Meng Mo. "This elder only sent him into a dream within a dream. He's just in a deeper sleep. Get over here, you." What the fuck? How is your username me? That's insane. What the fuck? Okay, sorry. This time, it was possible to discern that the voice was coming from a pitch-black cave off to the west. Lo Binghe couldn't wake Shen Qingzhou. He carefully laid his master on the ground, then turned and spoke in the direction of the voice. My master acknowledged you as a senior, so I must treat you with the same courtesy. I hope you won't cause Shizun trouble." Meng Mo chuckled. "I saw your memories, boy. This master of yours does not treat you well. Why not just let me get rid of him? I would be doing you a favor." The memories Meng Mo had looked at were mostly those of the interactions between the original Shen Qingzhou and Lo Binghe. Those memories were indeed the greatest in number. But Lo Binghe shook his head. "Shizun isn't like you say, senior. In addition, no matter what, Shizun is my honored master. He can treat me however he likes, but as his disciple, I cannot disrespect him." Meng Mo humphed. "How backward! The human realm's righteous path is full of this type of hypocritical morality. So what if he's honored or not, your master or whatever? If someone mistreats or harms me, they should be killed. He knew your cultivation was not sufficient to face Skyhammer, yet he still sent you out for that match. Were his intentions not clear?" "At that time, even I didn't believe I could win," said Lo Binghe. "But Shizun believed in me. Not only did he give me an opportunity, he even encouraged me during the match, and in the end, I truly did win." The next sentence he said silently and only to himself. "For my sake, Shizun blocked 2 attacks meant for me. His goodwill is genuine." Meng Mo had only randomly skimmed some memory fragments. He didn't understand Shen Qingzhou's behavior, nor did he want to try unraveling the issue, though he was quite pleased with Lo Binghe's attitude. Okay. Hello, Love Scum villain. Me too. Hi, Pluto. Welcome. Welcome to the sneeze. I mean the stream. Yeah. I just took my allergy pills. They should kick in soon. It should kick in soon. It's one pill. Okay. Where were we? Right. Though he was quite pleased with Lobinka's attitude. You, boy, are a person who values loyalty and bonds. Not even a thousandth of how Shizun does toward me, said Lobinka. If Meng Mo had a mouth, its corner would have been twitching. He opted to change the topic. After murmuring for a moment, he said, This elder senses that within your body something is being suppressed. Even though I cannot tell exactly what it is, it must be something surpassingly remarkable. Lobinka was a little shocked. What sort of thing is that? What sort of thing is it that even? Oh, okay, I'm reading. Respectively gay. What? What sort of thing is it that even you can't tell? Meng Mo chuckled. My race produces master cultivators in droves. It is not impossible that a demon more illustrious than this, elder, sealed something within your body. A demon. Oh! Sorry. It's just that since I've read it before. Anyway. In any case, Meng Mo surely wasn't so eager to throw away his several hundred-year-old reputation that he'd waste time tricking an impoverished teenager who had nothing. Nevertheless, Lobinka stared in disbelief. Does Senior mean that the thing in my body is related to demons? What? Are you displeased? Meng Mo asked sneeringly, eager to sever any connections with the demon race. Lobinka's state of shock didn't last for too long. His thoughts whirled rapidly before he declared, The demon realm does many evils of all kinds and has injured my master multiple times. Naturally, I cannot associate with them. Meng Mo became depressed. Can you go 3 sentences without mentioning that master of yours, boy? Let this elder guess. The next thing you want to ask is, may I ask the senior if there is a method to remove this something from my body? Lobinka smiled wryly. Even if I ask, would this senior tell me? Meng Mo laughed boisterously. It's not that I don't want to tell you, but that is truly beyond me. I cannot even see it clearly. How can I tell you how to remove it? If not for the fact that I can't... Oh my god. Guys, I can read. I did just wake up, but this is what's happening. I can't even see it clearly. How can I tell you how to remove it? If not for the fact that I couldn't make sense of you, boy, I would have already killed you both. Why else would I care to drag this out for so long? You think I've that much time on my hands? Lobinka didn't speak. He was thinking. Reverb. You don't even have a body anymore. You're just a shade being a parasite on others' dreams, on others' dream realms. If Meng Mo didn't have time, who did? He can't, it's a lie, he can't read. Hey, I can read! Except when you make me lose my place. Okay. Meng Mo, unaware that Lobinka was internally ridiculing him, continued. Removing it would be impossible for me, but suppressing it is not out of the question. Senior is willing to tell me how? Lobinka asked tentatively. Not only can this elder teach you how to suppress it, he can teach you much more, said Meng Mo leadingly. The implication was extremely blatant, and Lobinka understood. His heart sank. You want me to cultivate the demonic path? As his tone turned cold, Meng Mo's temper flared. What's wrong with cultivating the demonic path? If you cultivate the demonic path, that thing in your body will bring great benefits to your cultivation. You could leap 1,000 kilometers in a day. You could stand above the thousands. These are not empty words. With time, your power could overturn and sweep away the entirety of the 3 realms and the heavens and earth within. and it would all be simple. At that last part, Lobinka's heart jolted. 1,000 kilometers in a day stand above the thousands. The entirety of the 3 realms swept away before him. That was to say, he'd become strong, the strongest. He quickly rejected this thought. Shen Qingzhou hated the way of demons more than anything. If he couldn't resist this Meng Mo's temptation to become a demonic cultivator, how could he face his master? Whether Shen Qingzhou would be thunderously angry or drown in depression, either way, Lobinka definitely didn't want to find out. No. So, he resolutely refused. Meng Mo sneered. If you refuse to learn from me, you won't be able to suppress the demonic energy in your body. It's hidden deeply now, and you're fine because it can't be seen, but this elder senses that the seal in your body is weakening. One day in the future, when that power breaks through, how will that good Shifu of yours treat you? He who abhors evil and makes eliminating demons and upholding justice his mission. Oof. I'm fine, this is fine. I need to stop, reading word by word and start reading sentence by sentence. Even as Meng Mo articulated Lobinka's greatest worry, Lobinka clenched his teeth. This junior is but an ordinary cultivator for whom achieving even foundation and establishment is full of perils and hardships. Why do you insist I cultivate the demonic path? The question was way too high level. Other than the author, who could explain why all the great geniuses and masters were always crying and pleading for the protagonist to be their apprentice/disciple/son-in-law? No, in fact, even most authors probably didn't know the answer to this eternal riddle. You should appreciate others' kindnesses, boy. This elder can see that you are extraordinary. Would you rather all my knowledge vanish like smoke along with my physical body? How many people would beg for it to no avail? Lobinka showed no feeling on his face. At his refusal to reply, Meng Mo felt a rush of ominous premonition. Sure enough, the next time Lobinka opened his mouth, he did so with a pure and harmless smile. Surely Senior isn't so eager to teach me because he's unwilling to let his knowledge vanish without a successor, right? He asked, slow and composed. Meng Mo cried to himself, Not good. If one lives by feeding off of others' dream realms, and one often changes hosts, one's spirit will weaken and suffer damage during the transfers, said Lobinka. But if one were to live long-term within a set host's body, one could instead preserve and nurture the spirit to stabilize it. He paused. Senior Meng Mo, could it be that you're already approaching your limit, and that's why you have to pick me to be the host you'll raise? What a cunning little lad. Having been seen through, Meng Mo neither denied it nor became angry. Instead, he gradually admitted, That's right. Who'd have thought, boy, that you are actually so well learned and knowledgeable that you'd even know something like that? Lobinka's expression was unperturbed. Unable to intuit what his body was thinking, Meng Mo continued, However, don't assume that this elder absolutely must have you as a host. Wonderfully gifted demons number in the millions. Any of them would beg on their knees for this special honor. You're the one who should carefully consider whether you can afford to miss this opportunity. My foot's falling asleep. My foot's falling asleep. 'Cause I have no blood in my body. It tastes too herbally. I feel like I'm drinking medicine. Okay. In truth, over these long years, Mungmo's spirit had suddenly deteriorated. What the fuck? Why can't I read today? I can. I promise I can. I have to be airplane first. In truth, over these long years, Mungmo's spirit had steadily degenerated. That's a word, and I can say it, and my mouth can form words. He had originally resided within a demonic device and happily lived there. With 180 years of meditation, he would have been brimming with energy again. But it had just so happened that Sha Hualing, unaware of this, had, at the end of a series of absolute coincidences, used the device as a weapon and unloaded it on Luo Binghe. Consequently, Mengmo had not the strength to search for another host. But on the road to his doom, he had unexpectedly discovered that, buried within the body and consciousness of the boy he newly resided in, lay concealed a faintly discernible, yet incredible power. He'd been ecstatic. How could he have let this go? He'd already decided that no matter how adamantly. Hang on. Brain rewire and posture sitting. Redo. Can I have a redo, please? Can I have a redo? Can I have a redo? Where was I? He'd been ecstatic. How could he have let this go? He already decided that no matter how adamantly Luo Binghe refused, he'd wheedle and pester, make threats and promises. Even if it meant exhausting every single method he had, he would persuade the boy to learn his demonic techniques in order to make Luo Binghe's body and consciousness an even more suitable residence for him. This elder will give you time, so think through it carefully, said Mengmo. Otherwise, I'll trap your and your master's consciousnesses within the dream realm forever. This elder is capable of that much. Luo Binghe's head snapped up. For an instant, as cold light flashed in the youth's eyes, Mengmo froze, intimidated. Right now you are discussing terms with me, and you are free to say anything. Luo Binghe, what is he saying? Yeah, okay. Luo Binghe's gentle and humble demeanor from moments before was entirely gone, his voice bitterly cold. But if you harm Shizun, any agreement is void. And it's time for an illustration. If I can find it. Illustration time. Look at him. He's standing up to him. Look at he's so he's so cute. I love him. Dream Daddy. Yo, my wrist hurts. Sorry, that was unrelated, but he's so cute. Oh my god. Mengmo was frozen for a long time before he finally returned to himself, stunned that he had actually been terrorized by the presence of an ordinary, insignificant cultivator of the human realm. He had intimidated souls throughout the three realms for hundreds of years. Even in the miserable battle where his corporeal body had been destroyed, he had not lost to anyone in terms of presence. How could he have known that in future generations this presence would be called, in parentheses, the protagonist's exclusive, aura of badassery? The cave exploded with a sudden bellowing laughter. Boy, you really have quite the temper. As that ancient voice said those words, Luo Binghe felt his limbs become heavy, the scenery around him spinning before he was plunged into darkness. And that's the end of the illustration part. In a flash and with a start, Lobinka awoke inside the woodshed, his back utterly drenched with sweat. At the same time, Shen Qingqiu also sprang up in bed, like a corpse coming alive after death. Head dizzy and vision spinning, he gasped for breath for a while, and only then did he finally relax. Horrible, 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 horrible enough to die! How come? How come when, in the original work, Meng Mo dragged Ning Ying Ying into a dream within a dream, her dream was a comforting childhood memory wherein her parents let her pick flowers and ride horses? How come on his turn, he had first been surrounded by fist-sized men-eating wasps? Ugh. Then been dashing madly through the narrow passages of a tomb while closely pursued by a giant ball of fire? What the fuck is this? The most terrifying thing was that, in the final part of the dream within a dream, Meng Mo had woven in Shen Qingqiu's greatest fear. Within a damp, dark dungeon, he had been suspended in midair by a ring around his waist, unable to feel his limbs. When he opened his mouth, no sound came out, and he could only helplessly hiss. His entire body burned with pain. Only after an unknown length of time had passed did the sound of a stone door opening drift from outside the dungeon. Footsteps neither fast nor slow steadily approached. Then the shadow of a person was cast on the floor before him. On an ink-black hem, exquisite motifs were embroidered in silver thread. From that person emanated an ice-cold pressure more stifling than the dragon's airless darkness. What? Dungeon's airless darkness, my bad. Shen Qingqiu couldn't clearly see that person's face, but he knew very well who they were. Meng Mo truly deserved to be a legend among demons. That dream realm had been far, far too realistic. Even now the damp odor of decay seemed to linger in Shen Qingqiu's nose, nauseating him. Shen Qingqiu managed to keep sitting for a while, then he rolled off the bed and began to retch. Ding dong! Now, of all fucking times, a system notification sprang up. Congratulations on completing the scenario, Meng Mo's Barrier. The system awards you plus 500 satisfaction points. Please continue to work hard. Shen Qingqiu made a stop gesture and still had enough in him to try settling debts. Let's have a proper discussion, he said. When you threatened to deduct satisfaction points, it wasn't 500, right? Why not set it at 500 for both? Are large punishments and small rewards really fair? And I went through that extra scenario of the dream within a dream, so why haven't you awarded any extra B points to me? System? System! System, don't play dead! Let's sign a new contract! At this moment, someone slammed open the bamboo house's front door and rushed inside like a gust of wind. Shizun! Shen Qingqiu knew who it was from that sound. He miserably rolled his eyes. He really didn't want to see that face right now. Lobinka had already thrown himself to Shen Qingqiu's side, overflowing with anxiety. Shizun, how are you? Do you feel the least bit unwell? Truthfully, not too terrible. If you could stay a bit further away, I'd feel even better. Shen Qingqiu averted his face and, with unyielding strength and poise, stood by himself. Everything is well with this master. God, Shen Yuan would make a great VTuber. I just think he loves playing the role so much. He really does. I ain't missing the street. Yeah. Good for you. Lobinka wanted to help him up, yet his hand had been reflexively shoved away. He couldn't help but freeze. Shen Qingqiu didn't notice these small shifts in Lobinka's emotions. He tidied his clothes, verifying to himself that even though he wore only an inner robe, his image remained spotless. Did that Meng Mo trouble you further afterward? Trouble my ass. Meng Mo would have been falling over himself to lick Lo Binghe's boots, Shen Qingzhou was asking despite knowing. Lo Binghe hesitated for a bit before replying. That demon elder's spiritual strength seemed to have been lacking. This disciple expelled from the dream realm after a short while. Shizun, did you encounter anything inside the dream within a dream? Even if I did encounter something, could this master not handle it? Shen Qingzhou boasted shamelessly. Of course he couldn't handle it! Even now, the shadow of being a human stick remained. With Lo Binghe so close to him, his entire body was tingling, and he couldn't help averting his gaze to suppress his fear. Unsure of the reason for this, Lo Binghe only saw that Shen Qingzhou's expression was odd. His gaze no longer calmly looked straight. 20 stream streak, that is crazy. That is cool. It's true. Oh my god. Hang on. I tripped myself up. Unsure of the reason for this, Lo Binghe only saw that Shen Qingzhou's expression was odd. His gaze no longer calmly looked straight at him, like he usually did these days. It made his heart both fretful and anxious. Luckily, Shen Qingzhou adjusted his attitude with superlative quickness, remembering that he was a teacher and what he should do at this time. In the next instant, he reached out and took Lo Binghe's wrist. Being attacked by a demon is no joke, he said firmly. This master will examine you for a moment. We cannot be negligent. Yes, said Lo Binghe obediently, his wrist firmly held. His heart had just known a moment of ease, but now it was once more suspended. On the off chance Shen Qingzhou uncovered Meng Mo and exposed the peculiarity within his body afterward. But though Shen Qingzhou diligently examined Lo Binghe for a time, he didn't detect anything off. Of course he didn't. Meng Mo had several hundred years' worth of skill and experience, and his celebrated reputation wasn't exaggerated in the slightest. However, Shen Qingzhou still had to go through the motions. His examination was fruitless. He nevertheless repeatedly urged Lo Binghe to visit Chan Sao Peak and Chongding Peak the next day to let other people examine him, and finally to absolutely say something if an issue arose. Yet Lo Binghe had no intention of leaving. With the appearance of someone full of worries, he stared and stopped speaking several times before asking, Shizun, demons, are they all wicked beyond reputation? Must every last one of them be exterminated? Shen Qingzhou didn't reply to this question right away. He stood in place, indeed finding it difficult to answer. Seeing Lo Binghe petrified, forcibly keeping calm while also somewhat anticipating his teacher's answer, Shen Qingzhou spoke slowly. Humans can be good or bad, so naturally demons too can be good or evil. We often see demons victimizing people, but that doesn't mean there aren't cases where humans harm innocent demons. Don't put too much weight on race. This was the first time Lo Binghe had heard a teacher express this kind of opinion. He listened in a daze, heart thumping wildly. Shizun means, even if someone is closely connected to demons, that doesn't mean the heavens find them intolerable. Is that right? How can you claim they're intolerable to the heavens in the first place? Shen Qingzhou countered. If they're intolerable, why would the heavens let them exist? Who has the authority to say whether they ought to be tolerated or not? During this chain of questions, Lo Binghe's eyes gradually lit up. There was within him a faint sense of burning passion. Lo Binghe, you may choose to ignore the words this master tells you from here on out, Shen Qingzhou said at last. But you must always remember what I've told you here today. In this world, there is nothing intolerable to the heavens. This is true for all races. It's all true for humans, as it's true for humans. My bad. My bad. Why are you jumping? What the fuck? Oh my god. My eyes still haven't woken up. I think I need glasses. Oh, I forgot I need. Okay, nothing, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. True though, if I was in the heavens, everything would be intolerable. Oh my god. At that time, though Lobinka's heart leaned toward the righteous path, he wasn't a pendant. In any case, since whenever whatever was within him couldn't be removed, why not put it to good use? He absolutely had to become stronger, so strong that he would never be powerless, strong enough that he could protect Shizun from any hand that dared reach for him. Seeing Lobinka's eyes so dazzlingly bright, Shen Qingqiu couldn't imagine what he was thinking, but his own thoughts were a jumbled mess. His advice this time wasn't coming purely from a place of having developed an addiction to being the sage guiding the protagonist's life journey. The idea of the heavens' magnanimity was a universal concept older than time itself, and it had been recycled like reheated old rice for decades by the historical wuxia and xianxia genres, without the slightest hint of progress. But this world of ocean-deep hatred between humans and demons, who were unable to coexist and who had engaged in countless great wars in the past up to the present, the concept was extremely unconventional. Anyone who espoused it. Espoused? Risked unilateral condemnation. Glasses are fun, but not fun? Yeah. I think I really do need glasses. It's really a struggle sometimes. It really is. Do I still have my glasses that I had when I was like 13? I'm gonna hop on a plane to like Korea or China or somewhere and go get some glasses for cheap. Wait, no, I have to get a prescription first. Fucking hell. I hate this country. I fucking hate this country so much. Anyway. As someone of mixed lineage, it had been extremely difficult for the original Lobinka to avoid being impacted by human hatred of demons and vice versa. Since the greater half of his life had been harsh and full of misfortunes, he'd even begun to despair and think that perhaps the world and heavens both found his existence intolerable, that he should have never been born. No, Lobinka! Shen Qingqiu hoped that, from this point forth, these words could plant a seed within Lobinka's heart and broaden his perspective, that in the future, when facing the truth of his heritage, he could remain optimistic and not take attacks on his lineage to heart. Perhaps then his behavior wouldn't trend so extreme, and he wouldn't become bent on taking revenge on the world. Perhaps, even if someday in the future Lobinka had to face a Shen Qingqiu who would throw him down into the endless abyss, he would be able to understand that this betrayal wasn't his fault. Oh, I'm fine. If that was possible, then even if the scenario arrived and the system forced Shen Qingqiu to say the lines, "Humans and demons cannot coexist, their hatred is ocean deep and cannot be overcome, you fucker, hurry up and die," thereby slapping himself so hard that he sent himself flying, well, that would be fine. Now that the atmosphere had grown heavy, Shen Qingqiu felt he'd gone overboard with his cool act. With his terror of embarrassment about to erupt, he coughed once. That said, demons are naturally gifted with spiritual strength, far more so than humans, he said. If their strength could be used for good and was dedicated to the righteous path, to the common people, then how could that not be a good thing? Demons had exceptional talent for cultivation and absolutely crushed the human realm in that arena. As the races were different, so too were their energy systems. Humans relied on spiritual qi, where demons relied on demonic qi. Though Shen Qingqiu reckoned that the two were basically the same, with only the color and names being distinct. Maybe the demon realm had good feng shui or something. But the vast majority of demons were born fully charged with demonic qi. At age 3, they could rip apart a human with their bare hands, and at age 8, they could split mountains and crack stone. This was a bit of an exaggeration. However, the truth was that many humans had only mediocre aptitude. Even after cultivating for several decades, they could often only achieve the skill level of a small demon infant. Even more humans were like dried-up ponds, their spiritual strength practically a perfect egg, i.e., 0. These humans were often said to be lacking spiritual roots, or absent in the lot for immortality. It couldn't get worse than that. Hey. I was so dumb in eye tests, they gave me glasses to see the letters better. Isn't that the point? Oh boy. Oh boy. If I'm there, I'll be full of demon cheat too, even though... Do you realize that okay, do you okay, do you, okay, do you, okay, that's fine. That's not usually the take I'd see you go, but okay. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I want to finish this chapter before the break. There's only a couple pages left. We'll see. Oh, but my eyes. Wake up! I should have gotten some caffeine. If it weren't for humans, it's comparative low and propagating. What? The fuck did I just... that was not even close to what was on the page. If it weren't for the humans' comparative love of propagating, and for demons being generally sparse in number, the human realm would have long ago been colonized by demons. Honestly, they were just coexisting on the fact that demon family planning was so strict. Nope. Honestly, they were just coasting on the fact that demon family planning was so strict. After suffering the torments of this world's changing journey, Shen Qingqiu hadn't slept the entire night. 2 dark bags had already appeared under his eyes. He waved his hand. It's very late. If there's nothing else, then go and rest. Lobinka obediently asked to be excused, but he hadn't walked far when he heard Shen Qingqiu call from behind. Come back. Lobinka immediately turned back. Does Shizun have any other instructions? The dorms are that way, said Shen Qingqiu. Why are you walking in the other direction? The disciples... I always trip up when there's an S at the end of the word, and then there's an apostrophe to indicate a double S. It's like a stutter thing, I think. I think it's actually a stutter thing. I don't know. It's just with reading, though. Should I be like Ares's? Yeah, that's... It's hard for me to say. The disciples' dormitories and the woodshed were both a left turn out the door, yet Lobinka had turned to the right. This disciple wants to go to the kitchen first to prepare tomorrow's breakfast for Shizun, said Lo Binghe. Shen Qingzhou was in a bind. He really wanted to eat Lo Binghe's breakfast, but having a child cook for him instead of sleeping when it was already so late at night, didn't that sound like Cinderella and her stepmother? Either way, it seemed inhumane. In the end, Shen Qingzhou's consciousness won over his stomach. He coughed. Nonsense. It's the middle of the night. What is there to cook? Go back to sleep. Lo Binghe knew his master was worried about him not resting enough and agreed with a smile, but he still planned to sneak off to the kitchen to work later. Shen Qingzhou wanted to ask him if he was still sleeping in the woodshed, but after mulling it over for a moment, he concluded that youths still had their dignity. Asking him outright would be embarrassing. Moreover, even if he had Lo Binghe sleep in the disciples' dorm, the other students would take Mingfan's lead and bully him, steal his blankets, and hide his shoes or whatnot. The poor thing. Tomorrow, pack your things and come here, said Shen Qingzhou before Lo Binghe left. At first, Lo Binghe didn't understand what he meant. Shizun? There's a side room in the bamboo house. Starting tomorrow, you can move in there. Hee. If Lo Binghe lived a little closer, then in the future it would be easier to have him make breakfast and clean up around the house. Shen Qingzhou's adaptability was, as always, as incredible as a record-breaking dick. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Just a moment ago, he had been unable to even look Lo Binghe in the face, but now he dared to scheme how to make the great protagonist wait on him hand and foot, serve his tea, carry his water, wash his clothes, fold his blankets, etc. Being in the middle of fantasizing, he hadn't noticed said protagonist's reaction. Suddenly, Lo Binghe pounced on him like a tiger, capturing him in a tight embrace. Caught off guard, Shen Qingzhou jumped in surprise. Then his face reddened. For the first time in his life, someone had wrapped him in a full-bodied embrace. And it wasn't a warm and gentle, jade-skinned maiden, but a youth brimming with tyrannical energy. Ah! Shizun! Overflowing with happiness, Lo Binghe hugged him around his neck and refused to let go, crying in his ear over and over. He's so cute! Shen Qingzhou didn't know where to put his hands. After floundering for a bit, he placed them on Lo Binghe's head and stroked his hair. All right, you've cried out to me, hugged me, and made all this racket, and you aren't even embarrassed. You're already so big. It's not like you're a 10-year-old child. How do you think this looks? Lo Binghe hadn't thought about it that deeply. When it was put that way, he grew suddenly ashamed. If he hadn't been overcome by a torrent of joy, he would never have dared to treat his normally aloof and removed Shizun like this. Though reluctant, he hurried to peel himself from Shen Qingzhou's body, his whole face red. The dick is record-breaking. What's hard to understand? Shut up! Oh my god. That's how the apostrophe works? You shouldn't put S if it ends in S. Well, yeah, I know. That's what makes it so difficult to register in my brain, because I know it has another S. Anyway. 5 minutes before... No, I have a couple more pages. I'm gonna snooze an ad for now. And then run it while we're on break, which is gonna be in like 2 pages. Alright. Yes, this disciple has overstepped. When it came to asking for hugs, children under the age of 10 were moe, but a 15-year-old Lo Binghe was still moe. With a fresh and tender face like this handsome little sprout's, anything you did would be moe. Lo Binghe floundered for a while, at first a little flustered, but then he noticed that Shen Qingzhou's complexion didn't look particularly good. Even though Shen Qingzhou had the immortal body of a cultivator, he was haunted by old injuries and a lingering poison. Then, because of Lo Binghe, he had been dragged into Meng Mo's dream realm. He hadn't rested properly and was at his limit, so of course he looked a bit haggard. Lo Binghe didn't dare interfere with Shen Qingqiu's rest any longer, and grudgingly said his goodbyes. Nevertheless, he didn't return to the woodshed, though this time he made sure to take a detour before going to the kitchen. He promised himself that for the next long while he would carefully watch over his master's diet and recuperation. As soon as Lo Binghe stepped out of the room, a system notification arrived. Protagonist satisfaction points, plus 50. Shen Qingqiu was mystified. Why add another 50? System lag? Or had the system discovered its conscious and concluded that it had given him too little before? Whatever. He was exhausted. So what if points were added? To the point there was no way his admittedly great self had earned that 50 with a single hug. Ha 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 ha. You underestimate how depraved this poor boy is. Oh my god. The next day, Shen Qingqiu hadn't yet slept as long as he wanted before the fragrant scent of fish and rice wafted into his room and tempted him awake. Outside of the bamboo house, Lo Binghe had spent long hours preparing a meal with utmost care. The scent drew in a great number of Qingjing Peak disciples who were used to eating bland food. They hid off to the side, snooping. Enraged, Ming Fan and the others chewed their sleeve hems while watching the scene unfold, especially when Shen Qingqiu sat at the table and affectionately sang praises to Lo Binghe for his efforts and handiwork. As the two blissfully smiled at each other, their audience's grief and resentment reached its peak. Utterly shameless. To use these licentious? What the fuck does that mean? Licentious? Licentious? To use these something schemes and unorthodox methods to carry Shizun's favor. That evening, when Lo Binghe removed his things to the side room of Shen Qingqiu's house, every last one of Qingjing Peak disciples who had bullied Lo Binghe were wiped out. It was as if they had been struck by lightning from a clear sky, leaving their corpses scattered across the field. Though the words were, "moved his things," in truth it was only Lo Binghe moving himself. From the beginning, he'd never really had anything in the woodshed. His pillow, he had rested his head upon a bundle of straw he found there. Blankets, his outer robes had covered him. And, of course, Shen Qingqiu had prepared the real deal for him already. Shen Qingqiu had always thought that Lo Binghe's life was unbearably miserable, just a textbook case of child abuse. Sangchong Mountain Sect was one of the major sects in the cultivation world. How could people's hearts have grown so dark in such a place? How could their resources be so lacking? That night, Lo Binghe lay on a normal bed for the first time in his life. Before he had laid in a wooden basin flowing down an icy river, then on a damp, cold ground, then between noisy streets, and then even in mountain caves while roughing it out in the wild. It had become normal. Conversely, now that he was sleeping on a soft and tidy bamboo bed, his entire body felt light, floaty, like none of this was real. It was especially unreal when he thought of Shen Qingqiu sleeping in the main room, just a wall away. Just a wall away. I have to do another snooze. I'm gonna do another snooze. I actually think I might have to end after this chapter because my throat is not doing so hot today, and also my brain and eyes are not doing so hot with my reading ability. So yeah, I might have to end after this chapter is done. I have tea and it's not helping. It's not helping. I think I'm just not awake yet. I think that's a problem. That night, perhaps because Lobinka had too much on his mind, Meng Mo didn't appear in his dream realm. So, Lobinka remained composed and waited. Sure enough, a few days later, Meng Mo appeared once more. This time, Meng Mo didn't set up some mysterious barrier, having not intended to hide in the first place. Instead, he appeared directly in Lobinka's dream, though he did so in the form of a cloud of black mist. This cloud of black mist expanded and contracted before Lobinka's eyes, endlessly transforming, and that aged voice echoed from within it. "What have you decided in these 3 days, boy?" "Does Senior Meng Mo not know my decision?" Lobinka replied. Meng Mo chuckled. "You have chosen a path you definitely won't regret. Remember this day, boy. Today is the beginning of your meteoric rise. That youth, nope. What youth didn't dream of meteoric success? Is that okay?" Meng Mo's words rang with grand heroic spirit. But Lobinka wasn't moved. He only cupped his fist and bowed. "This junior has one more request." "What is it? Out with it. Hurry up and finish so you can finally become my apprentice." Meng Mo urged him on, not realizing that he was being far too optimistic. "That is precisely what this junior wanted to speak about," said Lobinka. "My master treats me with utmost kindness. I really can't apprentice under anyone else without his permission." Fine. Meng Mo interrupted before he could finish, and at the end of his patience, "This elder won't demand the titles of master and apprentice. Is that enough?" Had any extraordinary master ever come away with a worse deal? He was falling over himself to teach someone his pupil's techniques, yet he wouldn't even get to hear his student call him Shifu. How was his plight any different from that of an absolutely devoted, yet bitterly suffering concubine who couldn't gain official status? Lobinka smiled. "Then many thanks to Senior." He wasn't remotely willing to call anyone other than Shen Qingqiu Shizun. As he eyed Lobinka, Meng Mo was sure that if he still had a physical body, his nose would have gone crooked with rage. This Lobinka was all cute and obedient in front of his master, just like a little white lotus. So then why was he so hard to deal with for other people? 2 completely different faces. He was practically a different person. This elder is going to die of rage. And that's the end of the chapter. Oh my god. Bro, I'm so sleepy. I don't think it's a good idea to stream reading first thing in the morning. I woke up at 5 a.m., but to be fair, I did go to sleep at like 8 p.m., so it's not so bad. Oh my god. Anyway, how do we like Dream Daddy? Oh. What the fuck is going on with my stream manager? Why is it, huh? Oh, never mind. It's fine. It's fine. Yum, I mean good? What does that mean? Who's yum? Who's yum? Stretch. Got it. I just did, but I will again. Hello, why is my tracking so bad? Ehehehehe. Oh my god. This guy's abusing his mod abilities. Okay. Okay. Okay, I will take my leave. I think today, um, hmm. Yeah, today I might just end like that. The fuck you mean abusing? Cause you can just redeem your points and stuff. You can just get them back. But you don't even need to because you have a 20 stream streak, which is insane. Um, I didn't expect you to be an actual mod. That's crazy. Okay. Anyway, I hope everyone had a fun time, regardless of my reading ability being quite shite today. But have a good rest of your day. Be safe. Be kind. And I will see you. Actually, I don't know when I'm gonna see you. I will. I don't think I'm gonna make a schedule this week either. But we will do reading streams. I don't know at what time. It might be at a different time. I mean, it's definitely gonna be at a different time, but I don't know exactly when. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. Or you could just check my, like, on YouTube. You can check my channel and see if I have a scheduled stream, and then you'll see what time. Anyway, that's what's happening. Things are shaky still, so I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Hope you have a great week. A great rest of your day. A great everything. Okay, bye.